Welcome to Airgun Extra, brought to you in association with Crackshot, the Southwest's premier airgun sensor and ranges. In this week's episode, I'm going to be looking at a brilliant new first focal plane addition to the awesome Hawke Vantage scope range. Before that though, we join Rich Saunders using bait and weight tactics to bring destructive grey squirrels to book.
Now, because of the mast year last year, there's an awful lot of natural food in the woods here, and my peanut feeders weren't really being visited by the squirrels. As a result, they've had a bit of a chance to re-establish themselves, and the forestry manager has asked me to come in this section of the woods to try and thin the numbers out a little bit, because they've planted a whole load of new trees, and also there's quite a big effort to establish some songbird nests over here as well. Now, all the mast food has gone, all the mast year food has gone, the acorns have rotted away or been eaten, and the squirrels have been back on my feeder for a little while now, so hopefully I'm going to get a few. Now I'm using my absolute favourite setup today. This is a Daystate Revere. It's a 12 foot-pound 177 rifle, and I'm using the JTS Dead Center 10.4 grain pellets in it, which are absolutely laser. They really are, literally pellet on top of pellet. And because they're a little bit heavy at 10.4 grains, they really pack a wallop as well. It's a side lever rifle, obviously humour air regulated as well, 13-shot magazine, and the trigger is sublime. Now, on the top, held on with a set of sports match scope mounts, I've got an MTC King Cobra scope. It's a 6-24, and I've put my GoPro camera on the back of it as well. Now, one thing to bear in mind though is that the quality you see on the footage once it's come through the scope and through the camera won't be as good as what it actually is in real life. And then right on the front, I've got an Eagle Vision Cam Helia 34 silencer, which does a great job of making things nice and quiet. So the feeder is about 25 meters away, and I'm sat underneath this lovely old oak tree. Although I've had to open the sides up a little bit to get some light in for filming, I'm hoping I'll be okay and I'll get a few shots. Well, that's off to a good start. I was sitting here gawping around, not really paying attention, and then looked up and there's a squirrel already sat on the feeder. God only knows how long he'd been there, but that's the first one down. Well, that was another nice straightforward one. It came straight to the feeder. Sometimes if an area's been shot quite a bit, then the squirrels can take a while to get used to a feeder. This one's been up for probably around about a month now, and clearly the squirrels are very confident of using it. Well, that's incredible. That I believe was a stoat. I've never seen one down here before. I'm pretty sure it was a stoat by the longer tail, and I'm pretty certain he was having a little munch on one of my squirrels as well. It's been a little bit quiet for an hour or two, and that probably explains why, but hopefully it's cleared off now and the squirrels will be back. Well, looks like the squirrels are well and truly over the stoat gate crashing the party. That one came to the feed. It faffed around a little bit on the log pile for a while, but eventually came to the feeder, and that was that. Well, it's been quite a while now since that last squirrel, so I'm going to get my soapbox out, you'll be pleased to know. I know from previous videos that Matt and I have shot like this, where we're shooting squirrels on a feeder. Some people have said that it's not very sporting, and that's true, but there's a world of difference between hunting and pest control. You know, if I was hunting for the challenge, then yes, I'd be on foot, I'd be stalking through the woods, I'd be trying to spot a squirrel and then trying to get in close enough to take the shot. And I do love that kind of shooting, I really do. But this is pest control, and the job here is to remove as many squirrels as I possibly can because of the damage that they do, not only to the trees by stripping bark and what have you, but also to the rest of the woodland ecology by feeding on eggs and songbird chicks, by feeding on food that other indigenous species rely on as well. And I'm sure that if I did get on my feet and walk around, I'd shoot a couple of squirrels, and that would be good fun. But the reality is that baiting them to a peanut feeder is just so much more effective. I don't know how many I've had now, but you know, you can usually expect to get half a dozen, 10 or even more from a good session on a peanut feeder, whereas a stalking session you might get 2 or 3 if you're lucky. Anyway, that's it. I'm putting my soapbox away now. Well, I don't think that was the sharpest tool in the box, that squirrel. He tried to get in through the top of the feeder, then he ignored the tray full of peanuts and ended up scrabbling around on the floor for one. Well, I had to wait quite a while for that one, I don't mind telling you. It's getting quite warm now, so I think I'm going to make that the last one of the day. The Daystate Huntsman Revere, well, there's no big surprise for me there. I know this is a great rifle, I use it an awful lot, and it just performs faultlessly. It shoots as well as it looks, and it's a real looker, as I'm sure you'd agree. The MTC King Cobra on top, that's been fantastic too. A lovely bright day like this, the picture quality has been absolutely fantastic, really crisp. And with those JTS dead center pellets, the combination has been spot on every single time. So all I've got to do now is go and collect those squirrels, top up the peanut feeder. The squirrels will be going to my local falconry centre, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to give us a follow on the Airgun Extra Facebook page. We use it to keep you up to date with everything we're up to. Right then, next up, I'm taking a look at a great new first focal plane 34mm tube addition to the awesome Hawke Vantage scope range. The Vantage range of scopes from Hawke Optics has a great reputation for combining affordability with excellent optical quality, and prices start at just £69. Now, some new models have recently been added to the range, including this one. Now, this is the Vantage HD 34 FFP. So it has a recommended retail price of £399 in its 3 to 15 times guise. Now, that puts it towards the top end of the Vantage range, but nonetheless, it still delivers awesome value for money. So, as its name suggests, this is a first focal plane scope with a 34mm tube. It weighs about 900 grams and it is 336mm or just over 13 inches long. Now, with those proportions, it isn't a super compact scope, but it's not a particularly bulky scope either, and it's perfectly at home on this little bullpup. These scopes are tough. The monotube chassis is nitrogen purged, it's fog-proof, waterproof, and shockproof, so it should be absolutely fine on a recoiling airgun. So these scopes are also covered by Hawke's no-fault lifetime warranty, though I've got to say, I've got several Vantage scopes that have had hard use for several years, so I can't see you ever needing to take advantage of that. One thing I really do like about the Vantage range and most Hawke scopes is their neat design. Not only is it kind on the eye, it also makes them very easy to keep clean. This scope has Hawke's proven H2 optical system and 11-layer coated lenses. The 34mm tube improves light transmission, and the result is a really bright sight picture, even in tricky light conditions during those prime hunting times of dawn and dusk. Now, I will say that the scope cam footage you're going to see in this video probably won't do it any justice at all, because it's shot through the tiny lens of my GoPro. So take it only as a very basic guide, but also take my word for it that this scope produces a sight picture which is crisp and bright right to the very edges. So you've got a generous 4-inch eye relief and a field of view of up to over 40 feet at 100 yards. Now you've got the usual quick focus on the eye bell to get the reticle pin sharp when you first set it up. And the reticle on this model is Hawke's FFP MilPro 2, which is an excellent reticle. It's got plenty of different aim points for applying your accurate aim off, but it doesn't look too cluttered or confusing. That glass-etched reticle has been designed specifically for use with first focal plane scopes and can be illuminated in either red or green. So you have got a stepped dial on the left turret, and that gives you a choice of 5 different levels of brightness in either colour to ensure that you've always got a clear aim point against virtually any background. Now also on the left turret you've got your parallax wheel. That enables you to dial out parallax error and keep the target pin sharp from an airgun friendly 10 yards right out to infinity. I really like the windage and elevation turrets, and you can choose between either 1/4 MOA or 1/10 MRAD configuration. Each has a specifically calibrated reticle. So the windage turret is a resettable push lock design. It turns with really clear stops for very positive, confident adjustment. So the elevation turret, also resettable, just as precise, but that also has a zero stop feature. So once you've set that up, it enables you to dial in for your aim off, but assures you of an exact return to zero once you wind it back. This is a zoom scope, and you've got a choice of either 3 to 15 times or 5 to 25 times magnification. Now, I'd say the 5 to 25 times is probably the way to go if you're planning to shoot over extended ranges, but I've got the 3 to 15 here, and I would say that is pretty much perfect for sub 12 foot-pound airgun use. At the lower end of the scale, you've got a nice wide field of view for fast target acquisition, while on the other hand, you've got that higher mag and that added degree of precision up to 15 times for longer range work, maybe shooting off a bipod. The zoom collar turns really smoothly and with just the right amount of torque, and I'm pleased to say that this scope comes supplied with a removable, oversized throw lever for that dial. That makes even easier work of turning it up or down even when you're wearing gloves. And don't forget, because this is a first focal plane scope, the reticle gets bigger and smaller in exact proportion with the target as you turn the zoom up or down. Now that means all of your aim points remain exactly the same no matter how high or low you crank up that mag. As with all Hawke products, the new additions to the Vantage scope range come beautifully packaged. You also get some really handy bits and pieces in there. With this one, you get a lens cloth and lens covers, plus a battery for that illuminated reticle. You also get tools for setting the zero lock and also for fitting and removing the blanking screw for that oversized throw lever. The Hawke Vantage scope range is extensive and includes something to cover pretty much every rifle shooting application. Now the new additions also include the HD30, which has a 30mm tube. Now I've been sent that one in the 4 to 16 by 50 guise. That one's got a 50mm objective lens which lets in loads of light. Now I've not had a chance to really put it through its paces yet, but it looks and feels to be just as good as the FFP, and that one has a recommended retail price of just £279. Getting back to the Hawke Vantage HD34 FFP, I think it is a brilliant optic. It should be a great choice for serious airgun shooters who want a decent scope but don't want to spend an absolute fortune. Not only do you get the benefits of that illuminated first focal plane reticle, you also get a really bright sight picture courtesy of that big 34mm tube. Now, as I've already said, my scope cam footage isn't going to do it any justice at all. But if you do get the opportunity, take a look through one of these for yourself, because I'm sure you'll be really impressed.
The Great British Shooting Show hits the NEC Birmingham from the 12th to the 14th of February 2027. The UK's biggest and best shooting event. Tickets coming soon.
I'm afraid that's all we've got time for this week, but as ever, we've got much more to come very, very soon. Thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks again to Crackshot. There is a link to their website in the show description, along with a load of other useful links. As I said, we'll be back again very soon. Until then, enjoy your shooting and stay safe.